Hi, Donald from Select Driving School here. Today's video is intended to complement the current videos I have on the Show Me Tell Me page, which I demonstrated using my previous car, which was a Citroen C3. All the answers and demonstrations in those videos are still correct, and you can still use them to revise for your driving test. However, as I now have a new car, I just want to show what some of the differences are in terms of the controls for when you're demonstrating specifically using this car. So first of all, I'm going to go through the show me questions. So these are the 7 questions, one of which you will be asked to perform whilst you're driving the car. As it says in the video, the aim is for you to do this without losing control of the car. Therefore it's good for you to know exactly where the controls are and what to do with them. So first of all, we're going to look at ventilation. So we're looking at the steering wheel and at the dashboard, and we move down towards the centre console, and there we can see the ventilation controls. So there are 2 things that you're going to be asked to do, or 2 choices should I say. One is, can you demist the rear windscreen? And that will be this button here, which you'd simply press, and then if the engine is on, that light will come on and the demist will come on at the back. The second one will be, can you demist the front windscreen? And that is this symbol here, which you can see on this occasion it does do the whole thing for you because there's not as much power being used there. So that's the front, that's the rear. Okay, coming back up to the steering wheel, we're now going to have a quick look at the windscreen wipers. So the windscreen wipers are all on the right hand stalk. You can see the various settings there. But you're only going to be asked 2 things during your driving test again. First one will be, can you wash the front windscreen? So that will be pull the stalk towards you and we see the front windscreen start to wash. Or can you wash the rear windscreen? In which case we push it away and that will activate the rear washing mechanism. You may also be asked to switch the headlights on. Now, unlike my other car where all of the lighting controls were integrated with the wiper stalk, Fords tend to use a separate switch which is located to the right of the steering wheel, just a bit lower down, and it's this switch here. So it's always set to the auto setting. If you're asked to switch your lights on during the test, you simply turn it anti-clockwise. You'll see the little light switch, although obviously you should be looking at the dashboard, and on the dashboard you're going to see this little green light coming on. The horn, that is simply in the middle of the steering wheel, as with most cars, so simply press there and that's the horn. And then finally, opening and closing the side window, and again, as with all cars, the symbols are simply on the side here, sorry, the switches. So the window's already open, so I'm going to give that a pull, one simple pull and the window will go all the way up, and sort of a double press, it will go all the way down. So those are your show me questions and the differing positions relating to the Ford Puma versus the Citroen C3. Now I'm going to have a look at the tell me questions, which you will be asked at the very beginning of the driving test. And here I'm just going to go through the ones where there are specific differences between this car and my old car. Where the answers are more general, such as, for example, how would you test your brakes or brake lights, then I won't be covering that because the answer isn't changed by being in a different car. So first of all, we're going to look at the head restraint. So as with most cars, there's just a little button just here which you just need to push in, and that will free up the head restraint, which you can then move with your other hand. Now on to the ABS warning. Now my car differs from the new one, differs from the old one in as much as we have a button to start the car. So if we just press this button, what will then happen is the dashboard will light up and you'll see in the top right hand corner the ABS light just there. So again, that light should come on and then briefly go off after a few seconds, confirming the lights are working. Checking your indicators. Most people will choose to use the hazard warning lights. So the hazard warning lights again is in the centre console. Simply press that and we can see from the dashboard that both indicators, all the indicators should be flashing. Obviously you would be getting out of the car to check that the bulbs are actually illuminating. The lighting questions, so again, as we said earlier, for the show me question, this is the button to switch the headlights on. So if we turn it to that position, we've put the dipped headlights on, and on the dashboard we see the green light. If we're answering the question about how we put it from dip to main beam, then this does relate to the left hand stalk, which we're going to push away from us, and that will illuminate the full beam, which comes up in blue on the dashboard. Push it away again to switch that off. In terms of the fog lights are these buttons here. The ones that they're particularly interested in, the rear fog lights, so it's the bottom of the two buttons next to the headlight ring. So having switched the headlights on, we would press this button, and again on the dashboard we now have an orange light illuminated, indicating that the rear fog lights have been switched on. So I've stepped out of the car now, and now we're going to open the bonnet so that we can do the under bonnet checks. So we're opening the passenger door in order to access the bonnet release lever. We're going to pull this lever, and we hear the bonnet click, and we're going to go around to the front of the car now and pull the bonnet up. So at the front of the car, to pull the bonnet up, there's a yellow switch or lever just here. We're going to move that towards the emblem, and that should enable us to lift the bonnet like that. And then we've got the bonnet stay, which we're going to lift and put the yellow end into this little hole in the dashboard here. But I'm just going to have to stop for a moment because I can't do that with one hand. So the bonnet's up and in position. As ever, the engine is quite hot, so we're not going to touch anything, and we're just going to point out where the items are that the examiner may ask about. So they may ask about brake fluid, and that is this receptacle here. And again, we're looking at the side of the bottle to see if it's between the minimum and the maximum markers. Engine coolant is this one here, the big round one. Same answer again, looking at the side of the bottle between the min and the max. If we're going to check the engine oil, then this is the dipstick that would be withdrawn, wiped clean, put back in, and then pulled out again to check that it's between min and max. And sometimes a supplementary question is asked, which is where would you put oil if you needed it, and that is here in this little cap here, which has actually got a brand named on it. Whilst we're under the bonnet, I'm just going to quickly show you a couple of things that are of interest. They won't necessarily come up on your show me tell me, but it is worth knowing. So your windscreen wash would go here. If you have any problems with your battery, then this is what your battery looks like on your car. A very important thing to know about on your car is your fuse boxes. One of the fuse boxes is contained here, but you will also find other fuse boxes probably in the engine compartment. And then if you've got any problems with your electrics, down here we have what's called an alternator, and you'll see the black band running around there. That's the fan belt, which is driven by the car whilst the engine is running to keep everything ticking over and charging your battery up, etc. So electrical problems can often be traced back to problems with the alternator or the fan belt, slipping fan belt system, for example, or the battery. Okay, so I hope you find that helpful. To put the bonnet back, it's obviously the reverse process of putting the bonnet stay back into the little yellow clip, and then taking the bonnet down gently and dropping it from about 6 inches. As I say, please use this video in conjunction with the other two you'll find on the page to know the full answers, but then these are specifics for this new car. And hopefully you've liked the video. If you can, then please follow me on YouTube and click me a like. Thank you very much.